Today I will be talking about the measurement and geometry and how it can be taught from early primary school children. The following presentation will outline a method of teaching measurement and geometry to children from the ages 5 to 8 years old. The unit of measurement and geometry being expanded on is comparing masses of objects using balanced scales. Learning about mass is part of the Australian national curriculum and is important to be taught in primary school, as measuring mass can be brought into future learning and even future careers, impacting children for the rest of their lives. It is important for children to use informal units to compare measurements and to formulate problem solving from authentic situations. Through these teachings, students will have a solid understanding of known facts to derive strategies for unfamiliar calculations and will be able to create and interpret simple representations of data. In developing the concept of mass, a great activity would be to allow students to play with objects in the classroom and try to arrange them from lightest to heaviest. This activity could start off very informally, of children finding random objects and then having a discussion about them with their peers, to then developing a more formal understanding by weighing their objects and using scales. They could challenge each other by guessing first and then finding the correct answer through the scales, and then they could further challenge each other by comparing things in the classroom or things of interest such as animals or cars. Then try and guess the heaviest to lightest with these objects. Students could represent their findings on a chart, and for those children who require further development, could then even use the more formal language of grams, kilograms, and tons if applicable. This would be an authentic activity in problem solving. Allowing children to get into groups to do this would also gives them the opportunity to experiment and communicate on the idea of mass. Getting children to compare and differentiate between things that are heavy and light is a great way to allow kids to start learning about the concept of mass. When children are young, they have no hang-ups about maths, no preconceived ideas. This is a perfect time to develop their understanding of mathematical concepts. Teaching children the concept of weight or mass is as simple as giving the children a variety of objects. They quickly learn, incidentally, what is too heavy to pick up or light to pick up. If a child has a light fluffy toy, they soon learn whether they can throw it or not, as compared to the child attempting to pick up a heavy toy and being unable to move it, or move it a very small distance. It is here when a parent or guardian will often expose children to the language associated with the activity by claiming that the toy was light or heavy. This informal response teaches the child the language of heavy and light and allows them to start comparing objects. As the child grows, so do their experiments and understanding of the vocabulary. Often mannerisms can develop, such as a child making a grunting noise when they think the object is going to be heavy. This developmental play is a positive way for developing a great approach to learning mathematical concepts. Risk is greatly reduced as children are able to problem solve, and there is an associated intrinsic award for children to begin to distinguish between objects they can control, such as pick up or throw, and those they can't. Whilst working in the education system, I have experienced children dealing with the concept of mass on a daily basis. Whether it is picking up a book and waving it around because it is so light, or asking for help to pick up a tub because it's a bit too heavy. People experience the concept of mass every day of their lives, and without knowing it, start to gauge how they can be heavy or light without ever realizing they are learning about mass. To summarize the points in this presentation, we cannot underestimate the importance of early years. We know the children will come to school with a huge difference in their understanding of mathematical concepts. Children who have been exposed to a lot of developmental play and language will come to school with an understanding of mathematical terms such as heavy, light, big, bigger, small, and smaller, whilst other children will not be as sound with these understandings if they have not been exposed to these experiences. It is therefore important to acknowledge these differences and then further develop each child's understanding in a variety of new experiences. Exposing children to play-based activities with informal and formal language will continue to build confidence and understanding in children. Slowly introducing small group and whole class activities where the concepts learnt in developmental play can be recorded and associated with extended language will further develop children's mathematical understanding. This will then allow formal concepts such as kilograms, capacity, and volume to be introduced and developed. Learning maths is a sequential life skill that needs to be taught in stages for children to grasp. The references I have used in this presentation are demonstrated here.